Hey guys, it's Mr. Roller here. Today we are going to create a realistic jumping cartoon from a monster symbol. Now I've grabbed this monster symbol off of Open Clip Art Library, and I actually did the search through the Creative Commons website, and it has a Creative Commons license associated with it, which means that I don't need to ask special permission from the author to use it, as long as I credit him or her. And the author, the username of the author that uploaded it was Molumen, so we're good to go. And alright, what I've done here is what we normally do. I've imported the image into Flash and then used the break apart command, use the polygonal lasso tool to select it, and then hit F8 to create a graphic symbol named monster. So if you go up to library in the top corner here, you should see this monster graphic symbol, and I can drag now as many instances of it as I want onto the stage. Since we only need one, I'm going to delete a few of these here, and now we are ready to create our motion tween. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to click on frame 30 here, and I'm going to hit F5, and that's going to extend my artwork all the way across here and put it in every frame. And I'm just going to right click in the middle now and create the motion tween. So I'm creating a motion tween with this monster here. I'm going to have him dropping from this position down to the bottom. So he's okay at the beginning here, but at the end I want him to be down at the bottom. So I'll select him, do a shift, and use my down arrow key. And I'm going to have his little toes touching the very bottom there, just like that. Alright, so now let's just run it and see what we've done here. We've got a motion tween here that looks very unrealistic. I've got this guy linearly dropping. It doesn't look like there's any gravity affecting him at all, and he just starts over again. So he's not bouncing or anything. Alright, well we're going to work on that. We're going to use the motion editor here. So I'm going to select this tween, and I'm going to go to the motion editor. Because we're going to be using it quite a lot, I'm going to make it big. This work area here with the motion editor, and then I'm going to go and do a Control-2, and bring my whole image into this space up top here. Okay, so we've already learned about using easing, some of the pre-canned easing that's available, particularly simple slow. And if I was to do that, right now you can see that my y coordinate here, there's a linear change from one position to the next, from the top to the bottom. And if I want, I can take this simple slow, and I'm going to scrub it all the way to -100 because I want it to start slow, and then gravity is going to start accelerating it, and it's going to go faster and faster. If I was now to go up top here and apply the simple slow easing to my y basic motion, and I do Control Enter. Okay, it's looking a little better now. You can see gravity looks like he's pulling on him and starting to accelerate him. But it would be even nicer if we could apply an easing that would allow us to have him drop and then jump back up again all in one step. So let's see if we can do that here. We're going to do that. First of all, let's get rid of simple slow. Let's put no ease here. And I'm going to create a custom ease. So we go down to ease here, go plus, and we're going to add custom at the very bottom there. Okay, so now I can work on this guy down here. So I'm going to click on this to make it enlarge the work area. And you can see right now they give me just a linear easing curve here. But I'm going to grab these anchor points at the end here, and I'm going to make it flat here. Okay, I'm just going to grab these Bezier handles, and I'm just going to try to make this thing flat. It doesn't look perfect yet. It's not a big deal, but I can work on it a bit. There we go. So it's flat now. What I'm going to do is move to the middle. I've got 30 frames, so I'm going to go to frame 15, and I'm going to hold the Control key and go, you see the plus with the pen there, that allows me to add an anchor point. So now I've got an anchor point. I want this to scrub this all the way up to 100%, so I get this kind of a bell-shaped curve here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab these handles here and drag them all the way to the middle to give me a little more definition on this bell curve. And you can see now, if I was to take the y coordinate here, the y motion, and add my custom easing, you can see the easing overrides this motion where it's just dropping, and it has it sort of slowly dropping and then accelerating and then sort of stopping at the bottom, and then again starting to accelerate back up again until it goes slowly up to the top. And if I run this, that looks a lot better. Now he's actually bouncing. He's bouncing, he's going up and down. It looks like gravity's working properly in both directions. But there is something that I would want to probably complain about, and that is that he's not, when he hits the bottom there, you would hope that he's got some elasticity to him, and that he would show us some kind of a compression with his body, and he wouldn't just look like a hard marble bouncing up and down. That would make it look a lot more realistic. So maybe we can do that by playing with the scaling down here, the X and the Y scaling when he hits the bottom. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to remove the Y easing for now, just because it's a lot easier to work on the endpoint that way. As soon as I remove the easing, what happens to him at the bottom goes all the way to the end frame again here. Okay, so what we want to do at the end here, we'll scrub all the way to the end, and then for the scale X transformation here, I'm going to try to make him a little bit fatter and thinner. So fatter in the X direction, but thinner in the Y direction. So in the X direction here, if I boost this up to about 150 at the end, and then the Y, I drop it to about 50, get a nice squished monster. And he's not touching the bottom anymore, but that's easy to fix. I'll just click on him and go down with the arrow key until he's touching the bottom again. Okay, so now I have, I'm going to put back my custom easing in the Y direction here, and I'm also going to apply that easing to both the X and Y scaling transformations, because we want this to happen the same way that we're getting easing done to the Y position. So I'll do Control Enter, and now you'll see he's jumping up and down and he's squishing at the bottom, but because this easing that we have here is fairly gentle, he starts compressing way too early. So he's jumping up and down. It looks like he's compressing the whole time, and we really don't want him to compress until he hits the bottom. So the easy way to do that is we just create another custom curve that has a much sharper, the bell curve's much tighter. So let's stop this here. I'm going to go down and I'm going to add, do another easing here, hit the plus sign, go to custom, and go to the bottom and close this one and open this one, make it large. Oops, same one. Let's do this one. So here's custom 3. I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to flatten this out, grab the Bezier handles, and we will add another anchor point in the middle. As soon as I get this a little bit flatter, go to the middle here and we'll hit the control key, create an anchor point, scrub it all the way to 100%, and I'm going to pull these all the way in here, try to make it tight like we had it before, but in fact, so this is exactly what we had before, but now to make it even tighter, I'm going to actually go to frame 13 here, two down from the middle, hit the control key, and I'm creating a new anchor point. I'm going to grab that anchor point and just push it all the way to the bottom here. And I'm going to do the same thing 2 frames after the middle, which is 17. Control, click, and grab that anchor point and just drop it right down. There we go. Now we've got a much tighter curve here. And I'm going to apply that instead to my X and Y. So custom 3 and custom 3. And let's run it. Control Enter. There we go. That looks a lot better. So we've got gravity working. He squishes just at the bottom, then jumps back up again. So this is looking much more realistic now. So for practice, what you guys can do is try to create your own monster. Get a monster from the web somewhere. Create a symbol out of it, and try to get him to jump up and down in a realistic fashion. I admit there are some nuances here with the way that this works, but now you guys have the tutorial. You can watch it over and over again if you want to, and until you get it working. And what we're going to do next day is we're actually going to add a shadow to this here. And again, we're going to use custom easing to change the shape of the shadow, change the scaling on the X and Y so that the shadow gets bigger and smaller. And also, we're going to add to that motion tween, we're going to add changing of an alpha value, and yeah, maybe a few other things to make it even more realistic than it is. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.